So if you're in the ocean or in the river and you drop your GoPro, where does that thing go? And well, what's to keep it from sinking to the bottom or keep it floating to the top? I got an item that you might want to check out. Let's go check it out. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another video review. I am the Tech Gooch, and I have another product that was actually sent over to me from our friends over at Nordic Flash. And these guys are the waterproof camera float. Real fancy term for a camera float. The nice thing is it does come in a pack of two. So if you have two cameras, two GoPros, two waterproof cameras, it doesn't have to be GoPros specifically. It's for any waterproof device. And I mean, obviously you wouldn't want to put it on something that's not waterproof. So even if you had like an iPhone or an Android phone or something, you put a waterproof case around it, you're taking it snorkeling or whatever. Anytime you're going to be by a water source where there's a possibility of you dropping it into the water and not ever finding it again, or just so it's really easy to find, that's what these guys are for. I had an older version of this when I had my waterproof Olympus camera. The one from them was wider, smaller, and didn't have a whole lot of flotation to it because it didn't have a whole lot of foam in it at all. It worked decent. It was orange. It was bright, kind of like this, where it was nice bright color, so it's easy to spot. Even if it's below the surface of the water, you can still pretty easily spot this. So these tend to be a lot more. They have a lot more flotation to them than the one I had prior to this. But other than that, everything else is very, very similar on it. Let's head over to the other camera. How about that? So this is one of the flotation devices here. Here's my GoPro. You can kind of see the size variation to it. There is a leash on it here. This is removable. Basically, there's just a little standard plastic spring-loaded clip. Snaps in, and it's one of those clips that's not the easiest to just real quick undo, so you do have to make sure you're doing it right. You can't just do the one side. It does have a pretty good spring to it. So then you basically start with this piece here. In this case, let's say that I'll undo this back here. There are multiple ways you can do this. Obviously, if you knew you were going to mount it on something, on some kind of hand mount, I kind of put it in between here. I'm just using this as a for instance for what the mount would be here. But that way you're actually screwed in. Now obviously the one situation where this piece, how I'm doing it here, is not going to work would be if you were to actually break the housing. Usually if you are, and I'll show you a little bit there, a little closer. You can see it flossed in between there. But usually if you're doing something where you're worried about it falling in the water, you're probably, where you're using a wrist mount like this, you're probably not doing something crazy where you're going to break it very easily. But then you have, this guy goes around your wrist, and then, whatever kind of mount or device you have for the camera itself, that's that. If you know you're going to go in by it without any type of mount at all, and you're just going to go in handheld mode, you're just actually going to hold it in your hand, maybe you just float it, you're doing something underwater at a pool or something, then you can just take the item here, go through, take the loop here, go through the screw mount hole, and then just put it on a bite, just put it through itself, and so it's looped around, and then attach it to this guy, and now you have a nice, safe, secure method of holding it as well. Now, with anything, obviously, whenever you go in the water with your GoPro, you always want to, test the underwater housing to make sure it is not leaking. So you do an underwater test. I would do the same thing with this guy as well. Do a test in the water, make sure it floats, so you know how it's going to float in the water, what it's going to look like if you were to drop it. If you never do it, then you'll never know how much it floats or how much it goes underneath the water. So you don't ever know how deep it goes. So that would be the one thing I would tell you to do. One thing that I always did every time I ever went in the water with my previous cameras, exact same stuff. I actually have a trip coming up to Puerto Rico, and there's no doubt I'm going in the water without one of these eyes on, because the biggest horror stories you ever hear of is you drop it in the water and you never see it again, because it's not something that's easily going to be found. If you drop this in the ocean or in a river or something, it's heavy enough where it's going to go to the bottom, but at the same time, if it goes to the bottom and it goes into the sand or mud, there's a good probability it's not going to be very easy to find unless the water's crystal clear. So make sure you get yourself, if you're ever going to go into the water, grab yourself one of these. I mean, they're not expensive and they work really good. I will post a link below. So want to thank the guys over at Nordic Flash again for sending me this. I don't know how much better you can do on a standard wrist float for a waterproof camera. For, in this case, the GoPro is a great way, or any waterproof action camera, or like I said, any waterproof camera or function at all. So again, I want to thank the guys over at Nordic Flash for sending these over to me, and another great product. Of course, the last few videos I said how great the packaging was. These are pretty simple. They don't really come in any fancy packaging. They come packaged as a set of 2, which I thought was pretty cool. That way you can always, if you do lose one, you always have a backup. Or if you have multiple cameras, a lot of people that have GoPros have more than one GoPro or more than one action camera. You have 2 of them. So thanks again, guys. If you have any comments or questions, post those below or send me over a direct link from either here on YouTube or over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/techgooch. Stick around for some more videos. I do have more Nordic Flash videos coming as well. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.